It was one of the most explosive moments, maybe in Georgia history. Looking back on it, Arian Smith's 76-yard touchdown. We're gonna do a whole video on this, what it meant, what was going on beforehand, and so forth. Dean Legge and Ryan Curley, who's joining me today. Ryan, I explain this a lot, but where people are in Dawg Post during these games. But let's talk about that moment. What you heard, what you saw, and what happened after that.
Yeah, I think I was dealing with my camera issue at the time, which
Oh,
that particular one was that I was running out of space on the card. So I was trying to, for me, I was freaking out during all that, not just because of what's going on in the game, but because of what was going on with the camera. And I was trying to make sure there was space on the card. I think I ended up getting that whole play almost, if
I
not
think
all of it.
so.
But that is one of the was the crowd louder during that than it was the missed field goal? Because I think it was. I think if not,
I
it
might.
was
I'm
extremely
gonna have
close.
that. Now that you say that, I think when AD Mitchell scored a touchdown, that was very loud. But I think
Yeah, that
when Arian Smith scored, so to put it in perspective for people who are watching who were not there, which I know most of you watching were not there, but anyway, um, because yeah, everybody these things grow over time. I've noticed, but Georgia was down. They really looked like they were going to lose that game. I don't know how much people remember that, but at that moment they kind of clawed back. We're talking about halfway through the fourth quarter. Just before that, Ohio State had a 17-point lead, or was it 18? They had an 18-point lead, 14-point lead, excuse me,
yeah, it was
and
two
it
touchdowns.
was two touchdowns. And Jack Panesley hit a field goal to get Georgia within 11. So Ohio State faked a punt. Now, this is something, by the way, Ryan and I did a lot of research on this. And this is one of the things I talk about a lot in the book. And I will just show the image of Kirby calling timeout that Dylan Weber nailed, by the way. Ohio State had just faked a punt to go up and keep hold of the ball up 11. The
Yeah, I
problem,
think we talked about it
no,
before.
I might be getting this wrong here.
You could
Go
write a
ahead.
book on that second half,
Well,
not even just the whole game, but
I think the whole game was, important. But so Georgia cuts it to 11. All right, Ryan, and that's I'm
yeah.
referencing the book. They cut it to 11, and they force a fourth down, and it was fourth and relatively short. Ohio State took possession, was looking at a three and out from its own 34-yard line. So Georgia not really taking possession, excuse me, not really taking hold of the game. But the play before that set up the Jack Monesley field goal was Georgia converting a fourth down with Brock Bowers sticking his hand in the ground and like
Yeah.
doing some Yoda turn or something. But the section of the book talks about. By the way, if you want to get the book, you'll get the preview edition for. Excuse me, you get 2023 preview magazine for free when you buy the book. You can just get the preview. The link is down below for both of these things. But in the book, it talks about. I'm trying to remember that timeout, Ryan. I'm not sure I remember it as well as I remember the Arian Smith play, but as soon as Georgia called the timeout and I knew that Ohio State didn't get the first down, I knew they'd have to punt. What I did not know was the play went like the sequence of events went go for it, didn't have enough men on the field or had too many men on the field at Ohio State. Called Kirby screams for the timeout. Ohio State runs the play, gets the first down, but they didn't realize it. Kirby called time. Ohio State punts the ball. Television timeout. Georgia gets the ball at the let me go to the exact yard marker. Uh,
Yeah, I almost need to pull up the
26.
freaking play-by-play of it.
Georgia gets the ball at the 24-yard line, excuse me, of Ohio State. They got to go the length of the field, and they're running out of time. There's about 9 minutes left in the game. Boom, Arian Smith, wide open. And let me just tell you what I was. So I was on the field in the end zone. That's how I got this image of Arian, because I got to that end zone and I was like, I'm not moving. This game's going to be decided here, and that's where I'm sitting. So there's other images. Obviously, they're not in the book, but that ball, he was so wide open that you could see the Georgia sideline. They didn't even start cheering until he caught the ball because I think he was so wide open it was weird. Do you know what I'm talking about? And so,
Yeah, no, it was to the point where I think Stetson just kind of chucked it in that direction because
yes.
you got to play it safe. But
Mhm.
you're talking about one of the fastest people in the sport,
Yeah.
not just college, not just the college level, just one of the fastest people in the sport. And he gets the guy turned around and fumbling over himself. He's wide open. With this Georgia team in the last 2 years, it just felt like whenever that moment needed to happen, it happened, right?
Yeah.
And
Here's what Stetson said. He said he made that dude fall. He can run like people can't run. Once I saw him, I think the whole sideline was standing up saying he's open, which is true, by the way. So I just tried to put it on him and let him do the rest. And that's when you heard the pop. That's when the dome sort of exploded. And then, by the way, they they kicked the extra point and they were down at that point three. That was it. It was a 76-yard touchdown, one play, 76-yard drive. And Ohio State came back down, by the way, and kicked a field goal, a 48-yard field goal that did not look like a good looking field goal, but it put them up six. And so they still were sort of in control of the game. And but that play from Arian Smith in the time that you've been covering, so only since 2020, where does that play
okay.
where does that play rank in your mind? Because the Keely Smith, Keely Smith, the Keely Ringo touchdown, as important as that play was, that was basically the cherry on top. Once he intercepted that ball, that game was basically over. I mean, Georgia had an 8 point lead
So
at that
rank based on what metrics? What am I
point.
ranking it based on?
Ryan's
Is it
Ryan's
just was it
metrics.
the most legendary or like most important? I think that
Well,
those are
here's
all kind of different.
you got a few options. Okay.
Yeah,
You got and some of these are bigger deals than others. You've got Christopher Smith against Clemson. And that was a pretty
it's
big
in
play.
there.
Okay. You have Christopher Smith
If
against
we're talking
LSU.
about big, we could do it on big moments then. Just as far as
Okay.
big
And
moments,
these are just coming up in my head, so I don't know.
dude,
Christopher
3 or 4 of them were in that game.
Christopher Smith against LSU, Christopher Smith against Clemson. You have the Ohio State missed field goal. You have Arian Smith. You have Brock Bowers against Florida with the ball flying in the air, reversed.
Yeah.
You have, honestly, JT Daniels getting hurt against Vanderbilt and never coming back. Um, you
AD
have
Mitchell touchdown
AD Mitchell
in
touchdown
the
against
national
Alabama.
championship.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to pick from. Well, you've got Jack kicking, saving Georgia in the first half against Alabama too. That 48-yard field goal against Alabama. There have been a lot of sort of big plays. I don't know. I mean, Jalen Carter nearly sacking what's his name against Tennessee, Hendon Hooker. I don't think that was legendary like these moments were, but all
No,
of
but his
these
LSU sack throwing the one up, that's gonna be remembered for a long time as well in
long
all
time,
this.
no doubt. Yeah, a
So
lot of moments. I mean,
it,
there's not a single moment against
yeah,
TCU. Poor.
no, because look, there wasn't a moment. It was just an eruption. I
It's
mean,
like
it was
it's like starting a lawnmower. It was over. It was over for the grass. Look at that
yeah, I
image.
yeah, we got it, man. We got it one way or
Three
another.
That
It
broken
actually
300
ended up probably being
millimeter.
better. It probably ended up being better to have it just for that one play,
Yeah.
which we wouldn't have known at the time.
No.
Uh, yeah, that wasn't a fun few minutes down in the Mercedes-Benz photo lounge when we realized we didn't have it.
That
But
was my fault. But
man, I wouldn't rank it one. I wouldn't rank it one. I
okay.
think I think I've always thought higher of the AD Mitchell touchdown than you have. because that's just the moment where they never look back. They never really look back since that moment.
So to put
I
this in
mean,
perspective,
even to this day.
so that at that moment Georgia had a got a 1 point lead against Alabama. Then a
Yeah.
drive later, after they got the ball back from Bama, Brock Bowers put Georgia up 8, and then on the next drive, um, Georgia Keely Ringo picked 6 for a touchdown. So you've got Arian Smith though in where behind AD and behind the field goal miss.
I Well, I think you're undervaluing the Keeley interception a little bit as
Oh,
well, just
I no,
because
I just forgot it. That's all. Yeah.
no, just because that will always go down. If you went and did a survey with Georgia fans, that's going to be the one that's picked. I
Well, I
mean,
think the
just
question is
because,
how much high. I mean, that is essentially Lindsey Scott,
yeah, that's that now. So
right?
I don't know if that one will ever be picked over. I'd have the Arian Smith one in that top 3 or 4, probably 4. I think the missed field goal will always be a more memorable moment. I think the Keeley interception always more, so it's already behind those two.
Hmm.
Me personally, I think I'll always remember the 80 touchdown a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, so I put it right behind those.
I will add too that the closing sequence, these are not at all the same, but the closing sequence against Cincinnati in 2020 with Jack Penesley drilling that 50 whatever yard
Yeah,
field goal, and then Azeez Ojulari ending the game. That was an epic explosion, and honestly, it was a sign of things to come. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.